And I can't think of two better people to help break down today's episode than Todd Gay. Todd's the Director of Outreach and Engagement down at the Georgia Cyber Center in that beautiful facility downtown. Eric Toller is the Executive Director of the whole deal. And welcome, gentlemen. How are things going at your fancy new home?
So outstanding. I mean, it's incredible to see what's going on here in Augusta.
Yeah.
For collaboration that we have between government, between our academic institutions, between the private industry that's here.
Yeah, and I want to talk about kind of what goes on under that roof, but it's good to hear y'all are doing well. I mean, we drive by and we see the twin buildings and they're so nice. So far in our series, we've talked about cybersecurity. We had Sarah and Nicole, your colleagues at the Georgia Cyber Center. I call them the Cyber Sisters, but they are great about teaching us what's going on by way of cybersecurity and how we can protect all of our devices. We've also talked to our friends from the GBI about their role when it comes to investigating and prosecuting the bad guys who commit cyber crimes. How's the Georgia Cyber Center, Eric, fit into all of that and fit into the whole cyber thing that we have going on here locally?
Yeah, so first of all, Brad, thanks for having us on.
Absolutely.
And what you do to inform our public. We would typically start off with explaining the big picture and get down to the more practical, but we kind of flipped the script and had Sarah and Nicole on first, and so they got to get some practical stuff, and then we're finishing up with the big picture. So the reason why the Cyber Center is in Augusta and not in Atlanta per se is because of Fort Gordon primarily. So if you look at the amount of money that the federal government has put into Fort Gordon the last 10 years to the next 10 years is over $2.5 billion. So this is kind of a payback to the federal government investment. And so the state has invested over $100 million in our campus. And it really is about that partnership and leveraging the talent that's at Fort Gordon, but it's even bigger than that. It's about Savannah River National Lab in Savannah Riverside across the river. It's about our GBI partnership that you had Steve Foster on last time. And it's about our private industry and then those that are already here in the Augusta area and also those that are coming following Army Cyber. And of course you've got Augusta Technical College and Augusta University who already had a great foundation of education here. So that's really the background of why it's here and what we're trying to build with this unique ecosystem of government, academia, and private industry.
All right, makes sense and helps us get kind of the big picture as you mentioned. Thanks for that, Eric. He mentioned, Todd, a ton of money, $100 million here, a couple of billion there. I sort of see the Georgia Cyber Center and the efforts that are underway there as a way to boost not only the economy of Augusta, Georgia, but don't you think it can go into the region and into the entire state?
Absolutely, Brad. We are seeing people and companies that are following Army Cyber Command here that's coming in 2020. So we have the companies that are coming here. We have new companies that are startups that are actually going to start up to help support this cyber demand that's taking place here. So Georgia's voted the #1 state to do business in 6 years in a row. So it's a great place to do business. But we also had former Governor Nathan Deal tell us that he wants this to not only be the #1 state to do business, but the #1 state to do secure business.
He was such a friend.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. So the Georgia Cyber Center here is to support these companies that are coming in. We support that by way of providing space. We help provide opportunities for shared resources that they can use for training. We have education as well. So we are here to support the efforts for these different companies that are coming in that will be following Army Cyber Command, but also Fort Gordon.
How's that work? Do they have to pay you? Like if a company comes and says, look, man, I can sell software to the people who build widgets, hook me up and tell me where to locate and who to meet with, and so you do. And then do they owe you for that, or is that just sort of a function of the state of Georgia that y'all do to make this a better place?
It's a function of the state of Georgia to help make it a better place. So we can, we can provide that service, and they don't even have to be in our area.
Got it.
But we can also provide space to where they can come into the building and lease the building and be a part of that internal ecosystem at the Georgia Cyber Center.
Eric, your description of the Georgia Cyber Center makes it a lot more clear what you do down there. What about your mission? I mean, it's pretty clearly spelled out as well when it comes to what you're trying to accomplish day to day down there.
Yeah, Brad, let me start with vision, actually, because it's important to understand that for the Department of Defense, 10 years ago, we recognized that cyberspace operations was a revolution in military affairs. What that is, that's a capability that fundamentally changes the nature of warfare. So you can equate that to nuclear weapons or the airplane between War I and World War II.
Yeah, look at just a few days ago, President Trump said, look, we're not going to do a military attack against Iran, but we're going to mess with their cyber systems, and we did.
Exactly.
It's how things are going.
Right, so leap forward 10 years, we haven't really fundamentally changed, though, the way we recruit, train, and retain talent, or the way we operate, although we've made some evolutionary changes to a revolutionary problem. So our vision is to actually lead a revolution in cybersecurity through unprecedented innovation and collaboration. So again, building this ecosystem. And to do that with our mission, it is to first cultivate this ecosystem that together, not just me and my staff of 20, but all these entities of academia and government and private industry can do 4 specific things. One is to provide both relevant and affordable training and education. Number 2 is to develop the workforce. And that's from secondary school through college, through the workforce that needs additional training as
Secondary
they continue.
school, middle school, or high school and up?
Well, inspiration in elementary and middle, and then really the education starts in late middle through high school.
Wow.
Number 3 is to solve complex cybersecurity challenges. So that's kind of our innovation side of the mission. And then number 4 is to provide unbiased advice to policymakers and decision makers. And so that would be either legislature or any type of large policy decision that needs to be made. Again, it's not my opinion or Todd's, it's, hey, here's what our private industry partners are thinking, here's what our academic and other government partners are thinking. And really the purpose of all that is just to win. And I mean that in a strategic sense.
Sure.
When we're talking about nation state actors like Russia and China.
So Todd, you have this ecosystem. It's a 3-pronged approach, government, industry, and schools. How do you foster those relationships with those 3 entities, make sure you're connected to those people, make sure those conversations are ongoing and everybody's happy?
Sure. Well, that's something that we built the Georgia Cyber Center to help foster that collaboration. So the most exciting part about this, Brad, is we're the first ones to do this in the country, to put all 3 entities together. So we did this in a way to where we can have the Georgia Bureau of Investigation Cybercrime Center that you spoke with last time with Steve Foster.
Love Steve.
Yeah, so he has a digital forensic investigator that works for him that is also a teacher at Augusta Technical College 2 days a week. That's collaboration, Brad. That is how we are using the Georgia Cyber Center to house the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, but also have a digital forensic investigator that is teaching 2 days a week during the day Augusta Technical College students. So that way we have the students that are getting information from the teacher that has real life experiences with cyber crime. So we have that type of collaboration that takes place every day within the building. But we also have BAE, British Aerospace Systems, that just signed a lease with us. And they are offering internship opportunities already to the students. So we have Parsons, who is also in the building, and they offer what is called CTFs, capture the flags. So you have attack and defend, where you have one table trying to attack another table with maybe a ransomware attack. But you also have Jeopardy style, where you have the categories going across the top and you have different point systems and you're trying to solve different problems and to get points. So they host these CTFs once a quarter where academia, students can come play the game, they can train, but you also have government, military, but also private industry that can take advantage of this. And the last thing is our non-resident partners. The ones that I just mentioned are actually physically in our building. But we also work with people that have no need to be in the building, but they still have a need for our services. So with being Augusta University Medical Center that is a part of Augusta University, we have a partnership with Philips Healthcare. They provide all the healthcare equipment for the Augusta University Medical Center.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And one great thing that we can do is in our research lab, we can break down the equipment that's monitoring the patients and try to find vulnerabilities. And if we find those, we can send those back to Philips and they can make adjustments. So we're trying to make everything safer there.
So is this the affordable and relevant education and training that you mentioned, Eric, what Todd's talking about, where you have these hands-on opportunities under your roof? And also, how do you make that affordable and relevant education and training expand out into our community so that somebody who wants to get into cyber can?
Yeah, so that's definitely part of it. And it really starts with the belief that our foundational education in this career field is with your technical college or community colleges and then your universities. And it's getting them to tailor their content so that they meet the requirements now of both the public and the private sector. And that's,
are you saying use this textbook, use this curriculum, and then they say, okay, we will?
well, it's taking their operational requirement and developing the curriculum that then meets that requirement, which is hard to do, right? It's hard to keep pace with that. But that's exactly what Augusta Tech and Augusta University are doing with their School of Computer and Cyber Sciences. And then it's building a career roadmap that clearly shows as you progress through this career field from entry level to advanced level, what are the both educational training and experience levels you need to progress up that. And you can see where the on-ramps and off-ramps are from that career field. For example, military training. So they do a lot of the same things that you would see in the private sector. Well, if you have that training, you can articulate that into a degree program within Augusta University. For example, the Army's new cyber operations career field, if you go to their 7-month course, Augusta University will articulate 29 credit hours into one of their degree programs. So that's an entire year of college that you would get just by enrolling based on your previous training. So we don't want to duplicate or have students try to re-educate what they've already learned so you get credit for it. And then finally, we can fill the gap. So you saw Sarah and Nicole, so our Cyber Workforce Academy, they can do things very quickly, develop curriculum and give outstanding instruction, again at a much reduced cost because our building's paid for, they're paid for through a state appropriation. So it's really just the wholesale content or the development cost that goes in, whether we're teaching state agencies or municipal governments on their IT staff on how to be more secure. Yeah,
and what an old school word for me to use, textbook. There probably is no textbook. Things change too quickly.
Well, there's some foundational ones, but a lot of it is new and has to continually change.
All right, so how can you jump in on this cyber bandwagon, get a paycheck, get your child ready to get one? We're going to talk about jobs and opportunities for businesses, the people who create those jobs in the cyber field, as our special series continues on the Means Report. Welcome back to the Means Report. Our special series on all things cyber continues with Eric Toller and Todd Gay from the Georgia Cyber Center. And I promised you we'd talk about the jobs that are out there. A lot of people do want to jump into this field, Todd. How do you make sure that that pipeline is full of work-ready candidates so that the companies that have all these jobs will take them? That's
right. It's a big problem right now, Brad. And worldwide, there's 3.5 million cybersecurity jobs that are available today that are unfilled.
My word.
Within just the country, we have 300,000. Right here in the state of Georgia, we have 11,000 jobs unfilled that can be filled right now. So we are having to, this is not something that you can just, it doesn't happen overnight. So we have to start early with those secondary schools that Eric was talking about, starting with elementary, with these kids that are inspired to get into this field. We have to get them excited, going to middle school and high school with Sarah and Nicole with the Cyber Workforce Academy, bringing them in for field trips, having a escape room to where we're taking them through the building, getting them excited about the workforce. So we have to get them excited. We have to work on the middle school and high school, the curriculum. We have to work on the cyber security curriculum to make sure that it's where it needs to be. But we also have to work with training these teachers and making sure that there's a mentorship network that they can have surrounding them so that they are able to, they understand what cybersecurity is and the importance of it. And then it goes as far as the career counselor. How can the career counselor help guide these students in what paths they can take as they're looking to enter the job field?
All right, so that's how we have employees go from, little children to workforce-ready adults. How do we make it business-friendly, Eric, so that innovation is appreciated and that culture is strong for people who want to start their own companies here or bring their companies here?
Yeah, so one of our core lines of effort is innovation, and it's really creating a foundation of innovation, a framework that you can leverage the talent from both the government side, the academic side, where people can bring their technical problems and use that talent to then solve those problems within the framework. So if GBI were to bring in a technical problem, or the federal government, you could get the university professors, you could get the students, you could get service members from Fort Gordon to actually solve that technical problem. Now, whoever the sponsor is can then define the rules within that. How do you deal with the intellectual property, security classification if that's a problem? And then industry, I think, will also want to be a part of that because they're the ones that then have to produce that capability after you develop a prototype or deliver a service if it's service oriented. So it's kind of like a fuel for private industry to then take an idea, a concept that's already been developed, and then take it to the end state of production, and then provide that out to other government entities or other industry partners.
Do you have people from other states, maybe even people from the federal level coming here already and saying, please help us get this right? Because Augusta and Georgia do kind of seem to be setting the standard for cyber excellence. Do you have outsiders coming in and saying, teach us?
Yeah, right. That's been the encouraging part, and that's really one of our goals, is to be that example. We don't want to be first in anything, but we want to lead.
Yeah.
And so we've had 18 different states, 19 different countries that have come to see what we're doing, how did we do that, and then wanting to partner and collaborate. So that's been very encouraging.
Todd, you talk about collaboration, both of you have, and the importance of it, and the collaboration that thrives under that roof. Are y'all in the Hall McKnight or the Schaffer McCartney?
We are in the Hall McKnight.
Hall McKnight, okay,
Yes.
the first one.
Yes.
So I don't want to oversimplify it, but do you have people walking across the hall and collaborating? Do you have people collaborating on the elevator? Students and industry all there learning from one another? Is that how it happens, or are there official sessions where y'all collaborate?
Well, there's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So we have to do that, right? So when I want a cup of coffee when I go into the center, I can obviously choose Bona Cafe.
Right there,
right?
yeah.
Or I will have to go to a social hub because we can't have coffee makers, we cannot have printers, we cannot have refrigerators or microwaves in our office. So we are forced to go to the social hub, which the forced collaboration turns into a great thing. Because when I go get my coffee or I go get to make my print for copy, I run into different people that are on the floor. So I can always run into a GBI agent or a student. They are there in the social hubs eating together, and they're talking about different internship opportunities. So this type of collaboration really helps. And we have the cloud and the hotspot, the rooftops, to where we encourage collaboration as well. But we also have shared resources like the maker's space that's interesting to these different types of people that are in the building. Because Brad, we work in a place where you see lots of different types of people.
I bet, yeah.
But if you have different places for them that they like to go, when they get to know the people, the relationships just take place right there.
Last question for both of you. It's still the early going. It's still the new frontier for Augusta and the cyber district. How do you measure success? How do you know you're getting it right?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're defining our metrics right now. So that could be anywhere from number of students that we train. It could be from the amount of money that we save through training. It could be the number of high school and middle schoolers that come through the building, the number of internships, the number of college students that get jobs or jobs created in the area. So we're keeping track of all those. What we really want to do, and really the goal, is just to help better protect citizens. It's kind of hard to prove a negative or determine the causal relationship. So that's a little bit harder to measure. But when I look at long-term success, I look at our campus. And I think, 10 years from now, if we've got 3 more buildings built that are full, then we will have been extremely successful, because beyond the initial investment, no one's going to invest in something that's been a failure. So if we're continuing to get partners, we're continuing to build buildings, then we will have been very successful.
Todd, a lot of those metrics he mentioned are your metrics that you
Absolutely.
have to
Yes,
So
that's correct.
Things are going well, though, right?
Yeah, things are going really well. I'm a third generation Augusta, Georgia boy, grown up here. And Brad, we haven't seen anything like this in the Augusta area. We have to embrace this. We have to make sure that, like Dr. Keel says, the cyber tsunami, we have to make sure that we leverage that and we take advantage of what's coming to Augusta so that we can really make an impact. And one of the culture that we're building at the Georgia Cyber Center with inclusion, respect, and collaboration, that has to go outside of our walls so that everybody works together to make Augusta the best place to work in the world.
I tell you what, I had my son, a 17-year-old boy, at a golf tournament in Myrtle Beach 3 days ago. Man comes up to me and he says, hey, where are you from? I said, Augusta, Georgia. He said, Augusta, Georgia. Tell me about Augusta University and cyber. First thing he said. So the word is out, and we are on the map. And I appreciate the work that you and your team do. Todd and Eric, thank you all.
Thank you, Brad.
Absolutely. The Georgia Cyber Center, what a wonderful place, what a wonderful resource. If you see anybody who works there or who studies there, give them a hug. Tell them we're glad they're here, making sure that we continue to set that standard. And you can email us any cyber questions if we didn't answer them in this 5-part series. Check out all the installments online at WJBF.com. You'll be glad you did. You'll be a lot more informed.